Okay, we're back with another goddess. Hello, welcome to More Magic, my podcast. My name is Mary, and I'm an astrologer. Lately, I've been very much enjoying going through goddesses that are well known, but also heavy in Greek mythology. However, today we're going to do Lilith, which her roots go all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia, where she's called a night demon. She has one biblical mention in Isaiah, but the story that is most recognized about Lilith actually comes from medieval Jewish folk text. It's actually satire, but it's the first time where she really gets a voice as opposed to this like night demon that steals children. The story that's recognized is badass, so let's get into it. She was created to be Adam's wife, but they're equal, right? They're made of the same earth. And this is important because when Adam doesn't like that she's on top sexually and demands that she submit to him, right? That he's on top. She's like, no, fuck this. We're equal. You don't own me, right? And she refuses. She absolutely refuses to submit. And she screams God's sacred name that is supposed to be unspeakable. And in doing so, creates her own exit. The exit the way she wants it to be, right? So, peace out, Garden of Eden. She, in an act of defiance, decided, I'm going to say the name that we're not allowed to say, and I'm out of here. So, yeah, like I said, this is satire, and it's not canon, yet it's the lore that we all love because it gives her a voice, right? And it does seem to encompass so much about what we believe about Lilith and what we feel about her, especially astrologically, which is defiance, the refusal to submit, her wild, ungoverned, badass self, right? The voice being that she is not some demon hunting babies in the middle of the night, but a woman who chose exile over subordination. For astrology, she actually has multiple bodies, multiple points in the chart that can be significant. When I do a chart, I use two of those. I use the Lilith asteroid, and then I also use Black Moon Lilith. But I kind of want to talk about the difference between those two. So, asteroid Lilith, I think you could kind of relate it to the fact that this is an actual physical body in the planetary alignment, right? This is an asteroid. So when we think about Lilith and her kind of refusal to be tamed, her refusal to submit, her rebellious sovereign nature, when we're looking at the asteroid Lilith in our chart, we're looking at kind of that physical component in ourselves, right? We're kind of reflecting that. Versus Black Moon Lilith, which is a mathematical point in the chart. It's actually the furthest that the moon sits from the earth is how that point is determined. Instead of representing the physicality of Lilith, it's the instinct of Lilith, right? Symbolically, this makes sense. Wild, ungoverned, sovereign. Not afraid to face exile for what she believes in, for what she knows she's worth. And some of my favorite retellings of Lilith include her being the snake in the Garden of Eden that's offering Eve the apple so that she can have her own sovereignty in a way, instead of being in this beautiful garden, but subservient to Adam, right? And so I kind of love this idea that she's a serpent, and she's often symbolized with serpents. And even apples, I think, because she's a badass, because she was like, Adam, no, we're not gonna play this game. I do what I want, right? And she leaves. So when I look at these in your chart, I look for the asteroid, the physical, and then I look for Black Moon Lilith. And they tell me something about what your physical body is rebelling against versus what where in your chart your instinct to rebel is, your instinct to, or, you know, what I've seen this represented as a lot in charts is where we want that freedom, where we want that sovereignty, but we're afraid of the consequences, of the punishment, of the exile. So she's a place that inspires us to be bold, right? Inspires us to welcome our villain era, right? I love Lilith. She's such a badass. And I love that she doesn't bow down to men.